Hello, my name is Lino Tadros. It is truly a pleasure to share with you a product that we have been working on here at Tahubu, and finally we can share a demo with you. The product name is TahubuSF. So the question is, are you a marketing manager or an IT technician that works with the great CMS system Sitefinity every day and wish you were able to extract information or even create new information without all the APIs, code, and SQL database mumbo jumbo? Just in plain language like English, French, Italian, Spanish, and many more. Well, Tahubu has created an MCP server, which is a model context protocol, that will bridge the use of AI and large language models with the internals of Sitefinity, either through the APIs, the SQL database, or through the Parquet files of its valuable Sitefinity Insight product extensions. But enough of me talking. Let's go and take it for a spin. The first thing you probably want to do is to go into your local Sitefinity site that you're building, or a live one that is publicly available. I am actually doing it on my own, thetrainingbox.com, which is available publicly. I have a few different users in here, and instead of using username and passwords, which could actually be a security issue, we can actually go ahead and get an access token. So if I go, for instance, to any of those, if you go to actions, you'll see generate access token. Once you click on that, it will give you an access token, and with that you'll be able to copy and paste, and we're going to use it in our configuration for the TahubuSF later on as well. Of course, you can run our MCP server in things like Cloud Desktop or VS Code using the copilots from GitHub. Or of course, we are going to be generating a widget that you can display on your dashboard in Sitefinity. And we will have two of them, one of them for the .NET Core and one for the Next.js as well. So you can have that all inside of your dashboard if you'd like. I'm going to start with Claude, for instance. So if I go to the Claude Desktop, which you can download for free, you will notice there is a button in here at the bottom is to take a look at all the tools available. If I click on this, you will notice there is only one agent that is available and has been configured. It's called the file system, and there are 11 tools for that agent. If I open this up, if you would like to read files or multiple files or write a file to your own hard disk, for instance, you can actually tell it to do that using an LLM, and the tool will automatically take it from there to create something locally on your machine, which is very, very powerful. The question is, how can I actually add the TahubuSF to Claude, for instance, to be able to do this? Well, it's pretty easy, as a matter of fact. If I go all the way at the top in here, we'll say File Settings, you will notice there is a Developer tab here on the left. Let's click on that. And I'm going to say Edit the Config. When you say Edit the Config, it will open up your desktop, and there is a file called Claude Desktop Config.json. I just need to open this file. Let me go ahead and open it up. We'll open it up, let's say, in Visual Studio. You can open it up in Notepad if you want to. And once we do that, let me bring it up to this screen in here so you can see it better. There we go. And this is the file for Claude Desktop configuration. It has only the file system under the MCP server. I need to create another one. So let's go ahead and put a comma in here. And I would like to go ahead and enter the configuration for that one as well. So I'm going to go right here underneath it, and I'm going to be pasting a few lines. And these few lines in here, let me remove the comma from this one. So now I have a couple. I have the file system MCP server that you can test to take a look at all your the desktop and the downloads folders, for instance. And now I created a new one called TahubuSF, and it's using a UV. You can use Python or NPX or whatever, but for ours we're using UV, which is Python based. And then we will say directory, and I'm putting in here locally on my machine. By the time you get this, of course, it will not be something local. It will be something that has the @ and it will go to PyPy to install the package for TahubuSF automatically. So you don't have to have anything pre-configured on your machine at all. And the only other thing is you will have an environment. You will need to pass us the URL. It could be a local host, or it could be a live website, and also the access token. And this is very important because it's going to respect the permissions of that access token based on that user. If that's an admin, we'll do everything. If that's a regular user, for instance, that can only create blogs and news but nothing else, that access token will enforce all of that stuff as well. And this is it. This is the only thing that you will need to do in here. I'm going to go ahead and close this down. The trick, of course, in Claude is that nothing is going to show until you close down Claude completely. I'm going to close it down here Alrighty, and even that from the taskbar, and I need to go ahead and completely shut down the task manager for Claude, otherwise it will not pick up the new tools that I just created. All right, let's go ahead and start Claude one more time. And there it is, and notice this time it will hopefully, oh yeah, I am over 18, thank you very much. And now I would like to see if it was able to see that extra tool. So let's go ahead and search the tools, and notice TahubuSF has showed up, and we have 28 different tools available for TahubuSF in Claude right now. So if I open this up, you can take a look at Get News, Create News Item, Blog Post. These are all the different tools that can be used, including the videos and taxonomies and the forms, documents, you name it. We have done it all in here. Not only that, but you can actually choose which model you want to use. I'm using one of the latest, which is the Sonnet 4, and you'll have other different models, LLMs in here that are very, very powerful for Claude. I'm using the free versions to show everybody that you can do this without spending any money, but if you would like to buy the Pro version, for instance, which is a few dollars, you'll be able to access also even other LLMs if you'd like to test with this. Claude Sonnet 4 is more than enough for me in here as well. All right, let's go do something very simple. We'll say, what was the last press releases published on the site? All right, and let's see if Claude actually will figure out that my question would require a tool that I already configured to be able to do that. So I'm going to put a question mark in here, and we'll go ahead and do this. And look what Claude is going to do. First of all, is going to ask for all the different ones, all the different tools available, and it will tell me, okay, I found something here for TahubuSF called Get News that has to do with latest press releases or blessed news items or something like that. I can say allow always, and it will never ask me again, but I usually like to say allow once so I can see what the system is doing every time I ask a question. Otherwise, if you don't want to bother with this dialog, you can just say allow always, and it will always work for the Get News. I'm going to say allow once, and let's see what the system will do right now. It's actually making the request, getting all the information from my news based on the news retrieved from the Sitefinity site, cache TTB at Live 360, and hits UCF, and so on. So these are the latest ones that have been available from the system. All right, I can do the same thing, of course, with blog, lists, events, images, everything else. One of the things that I really love about this, what about if I say, create a new press release or a blog? Again, you can actually do it either way. And we'll say, create a new press release that talks about Apple WWDC conference that is currently going. And let's see if that's actually something that not only can get, but can also do a post with the access token and everything else. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's see if this will work. And it will actually try to understand. It will search the web first for the Apple WWDC conference. It gets information, and based on this information, create news item tool is the one that will be created. So I'm going to come in here, we'll see, oh, sounds good to me. It did a pretty good job. And now it's going to actually ask me to use the tool called Create News Item for TahubuSF. I can say allow once. And I could actually say at the end of it, and publish it. And it will not create it only as a draft, it will publish it. If you don't say and publish it, then it will only create it as a draft. So you still have time to go back and go into the back end of your Sitefinity to approve or to publish that press release. But there it is. This is perfect. I've successfully created a new press release titled so and so, and it has all the information here on the press release. The press release has been created as a draft in your Sitefinity system with ID, and that is the GUID for that press release and is ready for review and publication. This is amazing. So let me go ahead now and open up this again, and let's see if that's true, if it did that. So I'm going to go back. We'll go back to here. I'm showing you the internals of the trainingboss.com right now. Let me go ahead and open the content. We'll see if the news have been created. Yes, it is in the draft. TTB weighs in on Apple's revolutionary blah, blah, blah announcement. I can click on it and I'll have my content. It created a summary and I can keep going. I can create more categories and taxonomies associated with it, all in plain English. So you can actually open this. You can open up Visual Studio Code, or any tool that will allow for MCPs like FlowWise or N8N. And of course, we will be doing that in the dashboard inside of Sitefinity itself, so that you don't have to actually write any code, just speak English to it, and you can use a microphone, you don't have to type anything, and it will create everything inside of the system. All right, let's do the same thing, but in Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. You don't have to have any folder or projects or anything open. I'm just gonna go ahead to the settings, click on settings in here, and I'm gonna look for something called MCP, and you will notice there is an edit in settings.json. And in here, what I did, I went and did exactly like what I did with Claude desktop configuration files. These are all my different MCP servers. You see the servers. There is one for time that I was testing with. There is the GitHub one, which is extremely powerful. And I have the TahubuSF one in here. It's also the same thing like in Claude. I'm just using a UV pointing to it locally, which again, by the time this is released, it will not be local. It will be an @sign going straight to the PyPy package that will be installed on your machine automatically. And again, for the environment, I'll be passing whichever local host or a public site or whatever you would like with the access token for the user that you would like to emulate. And with that, you'll be ready to go ahead and use it. Great, let's go back to Visual Studio Code. All the way at the top in here, I'm gonna open up a chat with the Copilot. And the important thing is it cannot be on ask. You need to change this at the bottom to an agent. And you can use from all the different LLMs available through the Copilot for GitHub. You can use Sonnet 3.5, 3.7, 4, or GPT-4o or 4.1 are available as well. I tried all of them to see which one will give me the best answer. Between GPT-4o and Sonnet 4 definitely was the best. So I'm going to leave it on Sonnet in here. And I want to make sure that my tools are available. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Select Tools. You don't have to have them all available. Notice I have 134 selected in here. So you'll have the Copilot one, for instance. I have the Copilot Azure. I'm going to turn this off so I can go below the 128. By the way, Visual Studio Code has a maximum of 128 tools, at least for right now. We don't know if that's going to change or not. And I'm going to keep going down till I see my Tahubu one. This is the file system, a very good one as well. This is the TahubuSF coming in from the Claude one, and I'm going to actually turn this one off. I'm going to get the one directly from Visual Studio Code. So let's go down and see it. There you go. That is the MCP server for TahubuSF. So notice that Visual Studio Code can pick up whatever Claude desktop have already integrated, or it can have its own configuration. So I'm going to get the one that has the 28 different tools available to it from inside of there. Excellent. We'll say okay, and let's go ahead and ask some questions. So we'll go in here and we'll say, show me the last 3 blog posts from the site. All right, let's go ahead and see if it will pick it up. Now the GitHub Copilot is running against my TahubuSF. And it will say get blog post is something that I could use. That's of course based on the description we put in our code itself to explain what each one of the 28 tools will do. I can come in here and I'm going to say always allow only in this session on the workspace. Again, like Claude did as well. I'm going to say only in this session so I can debug it again for the future. It's going to call the get blog post from our Tahubu server. And then when it comes back, it hopefully will find out there is Progress Sitefinity Takes Dublin on April 19th and AI and Children for January 2nd, the metrics for customer success. All of these things are available in here, which did a great job as well. This one is my favorite as well, because it's a little bit more complicated than just the news, because we have blog post that has to be associated with a specific blog engine, because you can have multiple blogs on your site. How will it actually figure this out? Let's go ahead and do it. We'll say, for instance, create a blog post under the Lino blog post, under the Lino blogs, okay, under the Lino blogs, about why it was a good idea for Apple to go with USB-C for all iPhones. for all iPhones. There you go. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and see if there is a lot going on in here. First of all, it needs to go ahead and create the blog post about USB-Cs for all iPhones. And then it will need to find out what is the ID for the Lino blogs, and then create the post and do all the posting using the APIs based on that specific one. There is so much stuff going on. But again, can you imagine having to do that in English or in your own language to be able to make this happen? And we will do it with the Claude Sonnet 4. We'll click on that and let's go see what the system will do for us at this point. I will help you create the blog. First of all, notice that it did not create the blog first. It get parent blogs, which is a different tool to find out all the blog engines that are available so you can actually retrieve the ID. I'll say, yes, go for it. I'm going to give you permission to do that. And then it will come back. It will find out the Lino blog has this, and this is the GUID for the Lino blogs. It found it. And then from that point on, it's going to go ahead and try to generate all the post itself. Of course, it will go into draft because I didn't tell it to publish it. I can tell it to publish it, and it will not only create it as a draft, but it will publish on the site automatically if I want to. But usually people will not do that. They want to review first what the LLM have created for them. And there it is, create blog post tool has been created as well. So I'm going to say yes, go for it. And then we'll give it a few seconds, and this now will use all the APIs with your access token to go ahead and create the entire blog post, and hopefully it will be ready to go. It will be under the Lino blogs, as you can see, and that is the full content. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like on the site. All right, let's go back in here, and I'm going to go to blogs. Notice I have three. I have one for Kobe, one for Justin, one for Lino blogs, and I told it I want it to be under this one. I'm going to click on this 15 post, and the last one, why is Apple USB-C adoption for all iPhones with a brilliant strategic move? Let's click on that, and my entire blog post will be in here with the summary, and I can actually add more information for taxonomies or whatever I want in here as well. Isn't that pretty cool? And finally, the last thing I wanted to show you is an inspector that we will be shipping with the product for everybody to try things out locally on their machine. So it's a very simple server that has an inspector that you can actually bring up automatically once you install the product. And that's before you even go to any LLM, just to see that all the APIs are working correctly. So we will have 5 different tabs, and we will have all the results on the site. So for the content, for instance, I can say show me the news, run the tool, and that's calling into the MCP server, and it will show me all the different news item available. I can do the same thing with blog posts, and it's calling through the MCP server to get this information. If list, for instance, I have an FAQ, for instance, in here for the events. I can get some events, shared content, which could be very, very useful as well. I'll have it in here. Images, I can not only get information, but I can actually display the image itself using the default URL name coming in from the database of Sitefinity. They're all going to be in here as well. Documents, if you have PDFs of Word documents or anything like that, will tell you the type and when it was published. Videos, I can actually do the same thing, showing you information about the URL for the videos. If you have some published forms already, I can show you all the different forms available on the site and do that. We'll collapse this section. I can go to pages. I'll show me, for instance, all the pages available in the system, and there it are. It is home page, publication date, and we can add a lot more information about the pages as well if needed. The page templates, these are all, we put it in a table to show you if this is the .NET Core renderer template or a regular MVC one, for instance, or Next.js and so on. The fun part for the section presets, for instance, because there is an API around that, it will take the screenshot of the preset itself and it will show it to you directly inside of here as well. The site management, again, I can, if you have multiple sites running inside of one Sitefinity multi-site, for instance, I have one for the CMS for health and one for financial for the training boss. And I can go ahead and take a look at the search indexes available. So there are 2 that is backend, and there is one that I created for the blogs, which is not a backend one, and it's all of them are active right now. I can also see the taxonomies available in here, and containers and libraries. I can see all the different parents, anything that require a parent, like a blog parent, a list parent, calendar, albums, document libraries, and video libraries. I can take a look at all of them one by one from here. I can get their IDs if I want to. If I take a look at the calendar, there they are. And let's do one for the video libraries, and I should have 2 YouTube videos and the default library as well. And finally, my most favorite one is the content management. So you can actually create a brand new list item, create an event using a specific calendar or news item or a blog post. So if I say open the editor, automatically it will make 2 calls. The first one, it will get you the IDs of every single one of the blog engines that you have on the site. So if, for instance, I want to go against Lino blogs, I'm going to copy this guy and I'm going to put it in the parent ID. Otherwise, it will automatically go to the first one it finds. So I'm going to do that, and then you can type whatever you want in here. Remember, this is not using Claude, it's not using GPT. If you use that, you don't need to do that. This is just your own test and inspector, so you can actually copy and paste whatever you want in the blog. And when you say create a blog post, it will create that in the specific blog engine for you automatically. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick idea about what is TahubuSF is all about. The nice thing that we like about this is that, of course, you will be able to say, show me all the errors that happened on the site in the last 2 weeks or the last 30 days. And it will automatically make KQL queries against the app insights inside of Azure Log Analytics workspaces. And anybody in the marketing team or the IT team that don't know, for instance, KQL, or don't know how to get this kind of information, just in a pure English, it will come back and will tell you exactly what 404s or internal errors 500 or whatever, and the stack of the error itself. Maybe you can copy and paste it, send it to an R&D engineer to go ahead and fix that problem. So hopefully this will be very useful for everybody that would like to use Sitefinity, but do not have very strong technical and coding expertise to be able to get information from the inside. I hope that you enjoyed this, and please go to our website and subscribe to the TahubuSF so you can be one of the first people to actually get the product to play around with as well. Thank you and have a wonderful day.